Welcome, my friends, to the Horror Syndicate's Werewolf Wednesday show. My name is Seth, and I am addicted to werewolf movies. And I'm doing this show as therapy to help me work through it. And you're supposed to be helping me through this tough time. The Werewolf Wednesday show is dedicated to talking about every single thing possible regarding werewolves, whether it be I'm starting with films, I'll do TV, I'll do books and comics and stuff like that. I'm a huge fan of werewolves, so I have a lot of passion for this. And I'll be talking about all types of werewolf films throughout this show. Good ones and bad ones alike, whether I like them or not. And I'm just going to be honest with my opinions. Tonight I am talking about the Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson film Cursed, which is a film that is notoriously cursed itself um, with all the production problems. But I think that should make for a good conversation. Talking about the film itself, theatrical and director's cut, the studio meddling, talk about the original script, which there's quite a bit of differences for, and all of that. So I shall get started, and just going to be starting with the film that we got, the theatrical or director's cut. Um, so the film begins with three strangers on the road. Um, uh, Two of them are brother and sister, Ellie and Jimmy, played by Christina Ricci and Jesse Eisenberg, and the other is a woman named Becky who is on the road after getting her palm read by a fortune teller who tells her that she sees blood in her future. And as they're driving, a wolf comes across the road. Ellie and Jimmy's car swerve to avoid it, and they hit Becky's car, which goes down over an embankment. Um, while they're down there, the werewolf attacks, kills Becky, and wounds um, Jimmy and Ellie. And for the rest of the film, they begin to experience some changes, and as a result, uh, Jimmy believes that they were cursed by a werewolf, and Ellie doesn't quite uh, buy into it at first, mainly because she didn't see it, and yeah, and they begin to experience these changes as a werewolf is attacking and killing, and it kind of comes down to this revelation that the werewolf is a woman who had a relationship once with Ellie's current boyfriend, who is a werewolf, and she got infected, and she's just trying to kill off the competition. Um, that's basically it. Now, like when I first saw this movie, um, back when it was released in theaters, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun werewolf film. Naturally, the version that we saw in theaters was PG-13 and a bit chopped down. They did release the director's cut on DVD, and I got that, and I found it to be uh, a little bit better. Not only with additional gore, There's a really neat effect involving Becky, and there's more to the dream sequence that Ellie has towards the beginning. Like, so in the theatrical cut, as she's dreaming about seeing uh, seeing her boyfriend Jake, she bites into his neck, and like in the theatrical cut, it just shows multiple different like images, throughout the film, just kind of like as a visual cue uh, that she's gonna be experiencing changes, and then she wakes up in bed. Whereas in the director's cut, they show her bite into Jake's neck, pull out the flesh, and like his head just kind of like goes like this, and blood pours out. There's little stuff like that, but I think it's better. Um, as far as like how do I feel about the film now, I think it's still good. I think it's in my top 30 of werewolf films. Um, because I think it does have a fun atmosphere to it. There's just certain things that I don't care for so much. Mainly Jimmy's subplot, um, involving him and the wrestling and the bullies. That kind of like I'm not really interested in that at all. Um, and of course the CGI. This is another example of Rick Baker getting screwed over. Um, so the CGI is just, this is from towards the end when Joni transforms, and it does gradually get better. The CGI does gradually get better, but it's still noticeably CGI. It's not all that great. Uh, Design wise, I do like the look of the werewolf, design wise, conceptually. But I just wish it was practical instead of CGI. Um, I love the score from Marco Beltrami. I think it's really good. Uh, yeah, I think it's just it's a fun movie. It's in my top 30. I don't love everything about it, but it is one that I can put on from time to time and watch. I mean, technically, I didn't even have to rewatch it tonight before the show. I could have. That's how many times I've seen this film. I could have just talked about it without rewatching it. I did put it on just to kind of make sure everything was fresh. But yeah, I think it's a fine, fun movie. I don't like the CGI, um, and I don't like the subplot involving Jimmy. But other than that, I do have fun with it. You know, the original script, uh, it was so much better. I actually did a whole breakdown of the script on thehorrorsyndicate.com. I believe I put the link in the description. Um, if you don't want to read my breakdown of the script, you just want to read the script itself, I did put the link to the PDF file in the article that I wrote. So just click on the article and then just scroll all the way down if you just want to read the script yourself. But it is. I think it would have been a better film. So I don't quite understand why uh, Bob Weinstein decided that he wasn't happy with it and shut it down, while Wes Craven did like 90% of the film. He had 90% completed, and then the rewrite was demanded, and then they lost a lot of cast members, and they had to shuffle things around, and I just can't see where someone thought that the version we got, which is a film I do like, but I can't see why anyone, especially Bob Weinstein, would be like, would think that the version we got was better than the version that they were originally shooting. Um, but I'm gonna read through my article, so that uh, I can describe in great detail what the original script for Curse was, and then you can decide if you think that the version um, that we got was an improvement over what they were going to do. Um, so I'll just see. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna go through my breakdown of the original script, and then we can just talk about some of the key differences between the script and the final version of the film. And then I will jump over to the comments. I see a bunch of people have commented already. Thank you very much. It is definitely much appreciated. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, hit the thumbs up. If you're watching on Facebook, please hit the thumbs up. Or you could hit the laugh emoji, the heart emoji, the care emoji, the angry emoji, the sad face emoji, whatever one. Just, feel free to give it a like. Uh, let it, let us know that you like the Werewolf Wednesday show. All right, the survival of the Werewolf Wednesday show is going to depend on all you fine people who are watching, uh, continuing to support by giving them little likes. Greatly appreciated. If you don't like it and you want to hit the thumbs down or the angry emoji, that's fine too. So anyway, so here is my breakdown. I go through some of the production problems. So Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson's Cursed was a movie plagued by studio meddling to the point that those involved were not satisfied with the end product. What was released in theaters on February 25th, 2005 was not the film that Craven and Williamson set out to make 2 years earlier, and I'm not talking just about the studio decision to chop the film down from its R rating into a tamer PG-13 rating. So that's something I failed to mention too, is that the director's cut was the original R-rated cut of the film, and the studio decided to do it as PG-13 instead. And then they released it on DVD as a director's cut. Announced in, or not direct, unrated. Sorry, not director's cut. I'm sorry, my bad. Okay, so getting back to this, announced in October of 2022, or 2022, Jesus Christ, I'm tired. Announced in October of 2002 with an August 2003 release date, Miramax Dimension Films co-founder Bob Weinstein claimed that Curse would reinvent the werewolf genre. The story centered on three strangers: Ellie, played by Christina Ricci; Vince, played by Skeet Ulrich; and Jimmy, played by Jesse Eisenberg, who all survive a werewolf attack following a car accident on Mulholland Drive. As days pass, the three begin to experience a slow build-up metamorphosis that begins with their senses and intensifies as they near a full moon. But the werewolf that attacked them isn't finished with them yet, and the three must come together to kill the beast and put an end to their curse once and for all. Mainly sounds about the same, but there, like I said, there are major differences. Um, but yeah, so getting into it, more of the behind the scenes stuff. Principal photography began in March of 2003, and Wes Craven later had been told by Weinstein that he was happy with the production, but then just 4 weeks shy of wrapping principal photography, after completing 90% of the shoot, Bob Weinstein decided to suddenly shut down the production over concerns regarding the third act and the special effects. As a result, Kevin Williamson was ordered to do a complete rewrite with new plot points from studio notes, and legendary special effects master Rick Baker, the guy responsible for the effects in American Werewolf in London, to name something, was fired. His designs scrapped and to be replaced with new designs from K&B, while most effects were to be done with CGI instead of practical. After a year of hiatus for these new alterations, production resumed in the fall of 2004. Uh, because of the delay, uh, original cast members Omar Epps, Ileana Douglas, Heather Langenkamp, Scott Foley, Robert Forster, James Brolin, Mandy Moore, and Corey Feldman had to leave the project. The biggest cast departure, though, was Skeet Ulrich, whose character Vince was omitted and replaced by a new character named Jake Taylor, who would later be played by Joshua Jackson. Another noticeable change is Shannon Elizabeth's character Becky Morton being reduced to just the open, and even though her character appeared for a few scenes throughout the original version. Um, so that's some of my notes on like the behind the scenes stuff. So how different was the original version? Because a lot of that you may say, hey, that kind of sounds pretty similar to what we got, right? Well, let's get into it. So just to put a little note here, I have a note in this article where I talk about how um, Christina Ricci's character, her last name was different. Uh, I know several sources have been consistent in saying that Christina Ricci's character had been originally named Ellie Hudson, prior to make her prior to the decision to make her and Jesse Eisenberg's Jimmy siblings. However, according to the revised shooting draft that I read, that I did this breakdown for, which was labeled the second white revision from 4703, her full name is listed as Ellie Harper. So, the script begins at a rooftop party for an endangered species, for the endangered species sponsored by PETA. Here, a young woman named Jenny Taylor, dressed as a leopard, talks to a mysterious man dressed as a wolf. The mysterious masked figure claims to be a werewolf, and Jenny plays along, believing that they are flirting. Jenny becomes terrified as the conversation gets weird, with the man dressed as a wolf informing her that he is going to stalk her and eventually kill her, and even detailing how he's going to do it. Creeped out, Jenny leaves the man at the party. In the parking garage, as she approaches her car, she becomes frightened by a strange animal-like noises and notices someone lurking in the shadows. She chases the figure away, but when she makes an effort to return to her vehicle, she notices the wolf costume neatly folded on the hood of another vehicle right next to the wolf mask. She is suddenly attacked and mauled in the parking garage, torn apart by the beast. Later, on the freeway, a cloaked figure drives Jenny's Honda Civic with Jenny's corpse in the passenger seat so they can use the carpool lane. The vehicle heads towards Hollywood. The script then moves on to the three leads. We get Vince Winston, Ellie Harper, and Jimmy Myers, all of whom strike out in the romance department. Vince, the son of a wealthy business owner, is intoxicated at a nightclub and fails to pick up a girl named Becky after incorrectly guessing her name. Ellie, a career woman working for The Late Show with Craig Kilborn, meets her pretentious boyfriend Kyle Cole at a restaurant only to be informed that he's dumping her after he insults her character and states that she's bad in the sack. Teenager Chip... Man, I'm struggling with speaking. Teenager Jimmy intentionally lets his golden retriever Zipper off of his leash to stage an encounter with his crush Brooke, who works at a wax museum. But this doesn't work in his favor as she barely recognizes him, and her dickhead boyfriend, Bo, arrives to pick her up. Vince leaves the nightclub in his Mercedes, still intoxicated and driving recklessly. Ellie is on her way home in her Volvo, distraught by the conversation earlier about her boyfriend dumping her, and she's just about to answer her cell phone when she strikes an animal, causing her to lose control of her vehicle and collided into Vince's Mercedes, sending it over an embankment. Freaked out, Ellie then gets out of her vehicle to check on the person she hit and flags down an approaching truck, which happens to be driven by Jimmy. Jimmy stops and Ellie asks him to get her cell phone and call the police as she goes down to check on the wrecked vehicle. She makes her way down to find the still drunk Vince unharmed from the accident. Vince wants to settle the matter privately and to avoid the police based on the fact that he was driving drunk. As the two talk by the wrecked car, they hear noises from the woods as something, an animal, circles them. Scared, the two start to make their way up the steep embankment and are met by Jimmy, who informs them that the police are on their way. The drunken Vince stumbles and nearly falls back, but Jimmy catches him just before he falls. Suddenly, the beast appears, biting into Vince's shoulder and yanking him back. Jimmy, still holding on to Vince as this happens, is pulled down as well, and the two roll and tumble down the embankment. As they reach the bottom, the beast retreats back into the woods. Ellie makes her way down to check on the two, and just as the police arrive above, the beast lunges out from behind Ellie, wounding her arm and knocking her down, and then charges towards Vince and Jimmy, also knocking them down and wounding Jimmy's chest as it flees into the woods beyond them. In the distance, a howl echoes through the air. Later, as the three have their wounds tended to, Jimmy talks to a detective named Harzel and speaks of a giant wolf. Harzel instantly dismisses Jimmy's claims. Harzel approaches Ellie and Vince, asking them what it was that attacked them. Ellie claimed that she didn't get a good look at it, and Vince claims the same, although it appears that he's holding something back and that he's choosing his words wisely. Vince's family chauffeur, Toby, who's described later on as the one who fills the fatherly void to Vince, arrives with a limo to bring Vince home, and Vince offers Ellie a ride. During the ride, Vince tries to make small talk, trying to get to know Ellie, but she's business as usual and it's all about getting the insurance information. The following morning, the three notice some unusual changes. Ellie takes notice of some strange markings on her hand. Vince becomes freaked out when he can hear a private conversation between his father and stepmother about how he's a disappointment. Jimmy is concerned that Zipper, his only friend, is frightened and won't come near him. Now, it should be noted here that Jimmy's arc throughout the story remains the most intact aspect between this original script and the final film, with the only difference being that in this script he lives with his single father, who verbally abuses him and smacks him around a couple times. But everything else, ranging from his confrontation infecting Zipper with a curse and the reveal that Bo is actually gay and tries to make a move on him, that's all still there. Oddly, while Ellie and Vince have several interactions together throughout this script, Jimmy's story is separate and the three don't come together again until the third act. So most of the stuff involving the Jimmy character is the same, just in the final version, they obviously changed it to make him and Ellie siblings, and that their parents died and that she's raising them. So anyway, back on Ellie and Vince. While at work, Ellie catches a whiff of something that smells appealing to her, and as she nears the employee break room, she discovers that it was a colleague's nosebleed. That's the same. She then gets a call from Vince, who asks her if she's experiencing anything strange since the previous night, and then proposes that they meet later to talk. She informs him that she has a business meeting later, but he's persuasive. She then arranges for her meeting to be moved to the specific bar that Vince wants to meet her at later. At the bar, Vince waits patiently for Ellie and bumps into Becky, whom he struck out with the night before, but now he remembers her name, so she hangs around. Being, she's being a self-proclaimed starfucker, and she takes notice of actor Scott Baio. Becky decides to interrupt Scott's meeting with Ellie. Scott is already agitated by the news from Ellie that he will be appearing on the late night show Third, following Ashton Kutcher and Carrot Top. And Becky's interruption only fuels his frustrations. Vince shows up trying to get Becky away from Ellie's meeting, but Vince and Scott get into an altercation in which Scott shoves Vince, and Vince, on primal instinct, punches Scott. Before Scott could strike back, the fight is broken up by assistant Joni. Not impressed by Vince, Ellie runs off, chasing after Scott, and Joni hoping to make things right. Joni demands that Scott go on the show second. So some of that is still the same, but, clearly different. Later, Vince and Becky are walking along the Santa Monica Pier. They see a fortune teller named Zayla, and they go to get their palms read. Upon reading Vince's, Zayla informs him that he's marked by the curse of the beast. Shaken up by this discussion, Vince suddenly leaves. While on the pier, his body suddenly begins to convulse and spasm, and he falls backwards off the pier. But just before reaching the ground, his body twists in the air, and he lands on all fours while letting out a growl. At the same time as this is happening, Ellie also convulses as she unlocks the door to her apartment. And similarly, Jimmy does the same while researching werewolves in his bedroom. Meanwhile, Becky searches for Vince along the pier, calling out his name, but is then savagely attacked and killed by a werewolf. The following morning, Ellie wakes up naked on the high-rise of a billboard, Vince wakes up naked in a jail cell, and Jimmy wakes up naked in the shrubs outside of his house. Like in the final cut, Ellie goes to work and has an episode in the bathroom stall after sucking the blood off of Craig Kilborn's finger. As a colleague attempts to check on her, Ellie scares her away as she begins to transform. Ellie fights it, but is scared of what's happening to her. As this happens, Jimmy takes on Bo and his two cronies in the school gym. At the Winston mansion, Vince's father confronts him regarding his night in jail. Vince doesn't want to have this fight with his father and tries to walk away, but the father grabs at him. Suddenly, Vince reacts with rage, picking up his father and throwing him through the glass patio door and out and into the garden. Vince then leaps through the door, landing on his father and striking him again. He is pulled off by Toby, and Vince then asks his chauffeur to get him out of there. That night, as Ellie arrives at her place, she finds Vince waiting for her. Inside, she listens as Vince explains to her about the fortune teller at the pier waking up in a cell and attacking his father. He then proves to her something is wrong by showing her that his shoulder is completely healed. She then checks her own wound, discovering that it has healed as well. As the two talk, they find themselves having urges towards each other, and then they make a trip to Pound Town. After having intercourse, they resume their discussions of reality and curses, and suddenly Ellie remembers that Jimmy was also wounded. By luck, she finds the right phone number and calls up Jimmy to ask him if he's experiencing anything strange since the other night. Jimmy lies, as he says that he's not, but Ellie knows that this is a lie and gives him her number. As in the final cut, Jimmy is chased around the house by the infected Zipper and runs outside to find Bo waiting for him. With Zipper raging and attempting to break through the door, Jimmy and Bo race for Bo's car just in time. Jimmy then decides it's time to call Ellie and tell her the truth. So, again, the Jimmy stuff is practically the same, just with minor differences. Back at Ellie's, her and Vince are watching the news when they learn that Becky has been killed on the pier. They then hear a mysterious sound coming from outside, and Vince goes out to investigate. At this time, Ellie gets a call from Jimmy and agrees to meet him. As she turns around, she's startled to see Kyle standing in her apartment. Vince tackles him, and the two and the two kick him out of the apartment. They then hear a howl from outside, and suddenly Kyle's dead body comes flying through the window. Ellie and Vince make a break for it as the beast gives chase. They race towards Toby in the limo and climb in, and Toby peels away. But the beast leaps on top of the car and begins to tear away at the roof as it tries to get Ellie and Vince. The beast then smashes through the windshield, slashing poor Toby's throat, and then rips him out of the driver's seat and onto the road. As this happens, Toby's body hits the cruise control button and the limo keeps driving. Vince lunges forward to steer the vehicle as the beast continues to attack it, further damaging the limo. They manage to fling the beast off the limo and lose it as they make their way to meet Jimmy. At the Wax Museum, Brooke is surprised to see Jimmy and Bo together and questions them. As the beat-up limo arrives, Jimmy approaches it as Brooke returns to work to close up for the night. Jimmy explains to Ellie and Vince that his dog had been infected, and also his theory that the werewolf is after them to finish what it started because there cannot be too many werewolves roaming around LA. Suddenly, they hear the howl as the beast approaches from Hollywood Boulevard. Ellie, Vince, and Jimmy race into the Wax Museum, urging Brooke to lock the gate. Looking to hide, Brooke leads Jimmy, Bo, Ellie, and Vince deep into the museum, but it's too late as the beast is already inside. The beast attacks, slashing away at Vince's chest, and as the others make a run for it. Eventually, Ellie goes back to look for Vince while Jimmy tries to lead Brooke and Bo to the exit. Jimmy runs into Vince, but Vince has begun to change. It is no longer his normal self, growling and lunging at them. Vince then leaps away from them. Back on Ellie, we finally get the big reveal. The werewolf that attacked the three 2 nights ago is none other than Scott Baio. It turns out that Scott was attacked and turned while in Europe, and that his assistant, Joni, is the alpha werewolf that turned him. This is as opposed to in the final cut of the movie, in which Joni was turned into a werewolf after having unprotected sex with Joshua Jackson's character, Jake. So Joni is the alpha wolf in the original script. However, Scott can't bring himself to finish the job and make his first kill, leaving Joni to clean up the mess as she's been doing for the last few nights. First with Jenny, then Becky, and now the 3 that he let live on Mulholland Drive. Ellie makes a run for it as a frustrated Joni then knocks Scott unconscious. Having successfully gotten Brooke and Bo out of the building, Jimmy heads back to find Ellie and help bring an end to their curse. Jimmy and Ellie run into each other, and Ellie asks him if he's seen Vince. Jimmy informs her that he's not on her side anymore. And then Vince attacks them, knocking Jimmy down and grabbing Ellie by the throat. Joni catches up and offers Ellie a chance to give in and be part of the pack, but Ellie refuses. Jimmy then begins to transform, as Vince has, and Joni orders the 2 guys to kill Ellie, but instead they lock eyes and suddenly attack Joni. Ellie then begins to transform and joins in the fight, but Joni's too strong and fights them off. The 3 fight the beasts lurking within themselves and revert back to their human forms as they try to flee from Joni, who is momentarily distracted by a group of animal control officers who swarm the building. After causing the officers to flee, Joni catches up with the 3, once again attacking, but Ellie finds a prop sword and decapitates Joni, releasing the 3 from the curse. So the 3 that started off as losers end up as winners, with Jimmy hooking up with Brooke and becoming friends with Bo, while Vince and Ellie end up getting together. Yeah, so I like this version so much better, this original script. If they did this script, we would have seen the characters actually transform into werewolves. In the final version, Ellie and Jimmy have not gone through a full transformation. So I like the idea that in the third act, then the three start to experience their first metamorphosis, and the fact that once they do, the others are no longer safe. I kind of like that aspect of it, and yeah, uh, I don't know. I just feel like it was a better story. It was uh, definitely a better werewolf story. And I feel like it would have been a much better film. I just don't understand the need uh, from uh, from Bob Weinstein uh, to to change it to what it is, because it was, I think this original script was much better. Again, there were some things that were the same, mainly Jimmy's story arc. But yeah, but I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that? How do you think that sounds? Just trying to do one thing here, and then I'll jump into comments. I just gotta text Ray to see if my show is even on Facebook. um, yeah. Whoops. What did I do? Here we go. So I'll get through some of the comments. There's not going to be a lot because I don't think this is even showing up. It's showing up on YouTube, which is fine. Um, but usually when it goes with both, tend to get more interactions. But hey, it is what it is. So Sean Sheridan's movie reviews. Go ahead, check out his channel if you get a chance. One second here. Yeah, it's not showing up, man. He says Cursed is pure garbage. Christina Ricci is excellent. One of those rare actresses I love in everything I see her in. Beyond that, terrible. The one time I could say I don't like Jesse Eisenberg, don't like his character or any of the rest of them. Uh, the subplots like the bully being gay felt forced, just not a good movie. Yeah, I don't really care for that subplot either. Um, Sean says, I said this a while back, a YouTuber I follow said this a while back in a ranking he did of Craven. By all accounts, Wes was a lovely man, but very, very shy to someone that suggests to me that maybe he didn't like confrontation, and that's what let him down as a director. He wasn't aggressive enough at times to say, no, I'm not doing this. Well, again, the original version, the version that he and Kevin Williamson intended to make, uh, got royally screwed over. And I believe um, around the time that Curse came out, I'm pretty sure I read an article in which Craven said he just doesn't care about the film anymore. Um, I think the studio meddling really got to him. Um, so um, I like to think of someone like Stanley Kubrick, who was the opposite, bit of a control freak. How the studio did what they want on this movie. To him, he would walk no issue out of principle. Wes should have done the same on this movie, wash his hands and protect his reputation. Yeah, I mean, but technically he's made worse. Technically, he made it even worse after this with was it My Soul to Keep? To me, my above point would explain why he has such a mixed bag of film quality. You get some of the best horror movies ever made out of him, and then you get stuff like this. Yeah. Uh, even A Nightmare on Elm Street, uh, love that movie, but the uh, weak point is the ending where he wanted to do a one and done, but he did what Bob Shea wanted and changed it and to that terrible blow up doll mom. Yeah. Scott Walker says, "Hello, Seth. How are you doing? Uh, how are you doing? Like my friend, just watching Scream 2 at the moment while I'm talking to you, and I cannot wait to talk about Curse because it's one of my favorite werewolf movies. That's awesome. Uh, good choice on Scream 2. Ages of Film says, "Yo, what's up, dude? Really ready to talk some werewolf movies tonight? Hell yeah, man. Uh, can we talk about the similarities between them? I mean, yeah, they kind of look similar. A little, I guess, conceptually, design wise. You know, Rick Baker did the effects for both, so I smashed that like button for you. Love Cursed, gonna be a good stream. Hell yeah, man. Sean Sheridan says, "Oh yeah, and the CGI was terrible. Yes, it was." Scott Walker says the werewolf that attacked Becky and killer is actually Joni, the female werewolf who was in love with Jake Joshua Jackson. Yes. Why do some people who think the werewolf from the movie Curse looks like a bear? Uh, it's probably because of the one image. I'll pop it back up. I think I have it. Uh, would they have to get John Lance's permission to do the design of the werewolf from Curse to look like the werewolf from American Wolf from London? Uh, I don't know, probably Universal. There is a good movie in here, I could tell. I take two things from it. One, why would anyone work with the Weinsteins? Two, Wes should definitely have walked away. Yeah. How can they do a version of Curse? Don't let Jimmy or Ellie transform into werewolf, but they act like werewolves in the movie in the human form, which doesn't make any sense. Yeah. That's why I like the original script because they actually transformed. Uh, whereas in the version we got, they just had like some mild side effects. Got a mild case of lycanthropy. Another thing I love about Curse is when their dog Zipper becomes a werewolf type dog. It's so cool. If it's true, a dog becomes a werewolf like in the movie. Yeah. My Soul to Keep, that's worse. It was the opposite. He had no interference on that, I believe. Never seen it. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't mind it. It's bad, but uh, I don't know. I got I got low taste, low quality. I'm ranking your Lord and Savior John Carpenter next. Awesome, can't wait for that man. As much as I have disliked a lot of his movies, I'm committed as long as it's free. That's my condition. Hey, Cursed I find on the internet, so I doubt watch that. I don't quite understand. Um, in the wild, Mary genre, I love to see a battle between. I find me between American Wolf in London, uh, Wolf, Ginger Snaps, Wolf, the Wolfman movie, Wolves in the Wolf and Cursed battle between the wolves. That's quite the mouthful. There's that Seth guy. That's right. Tell all your friends. Tell everyone. I'm back. Yeah, so that is it for comments. Clearly, these shows are getting fucked by Facebook because they're not showing up anymore. So, yeah, so that was my thoughts. Hold on. Next month, I'm making Carpenter. I find Curse free on the internet, but it wasn't great quality, so I about got through it. Oh, okay, I got you. Seth got a haircut. Seth, did you lose a bet? Well, I fucked it up myself. Um, so I was letting my hair grow a little bit, and I wear a hat because I have a bald spot that I'm embarrassed about. And because my hair was long, like it really stuck out on the sides. And I was like, oh, I'll just, take the clippers and, put one on there and just kind of trim it up a little bit so they don't stick out. And I realized as I put it up there that I had the wrong size on. And I was like, well, I got to see this through. And so I did both sides. And I looked like I had a mullet for a day. And then I had my girlfriend fix it. So, yeah, I screwed it up. Seth, did you see Howl about the dog man on the train of passengers? Yeah, I love Howl. I think Howl's really cool. I did a show on it several months ago. But yeah, I dig it. I just don't like the werewolf designs. No, I mean, I want to see about with all the werewolves. Yeah, no, I know. I don't know if that's possible, but I mean, that'd be cool. Last time I got a haircut like that, they gave me a free bowl of soup. Yep, I know. I know. There's no fixing stupid. I fucked it up. I gotta live with it. Yeah. So anyway, just gonna get back to Curse before I bounce out for the night. So Wes Craven's Curse, PG-13 version, a little choppy, still kind of fun. I don't love everything about it. The CGI werewolf and werewolf transformation, not good at all. Particularly in the early stages of the transformation. But it does progressively get better, but it's still noticeably CGI. I do love this moment with the werewolf flipping them off. I don't know, I think it's a fun movie. Definitely has flaws, definitely has things I don't like, but I think the overall tone is fine. It's fun, it's an easy 90 minutes to kill. I dig the score. The original script, which, if you're watching this after the fact of me being live, I just read through my breakdown that I did. If you want to read the breakdown or read the script, the original script for Cursed, you can find it on thehorrorsyndicate.com. I actually did put the link in the description for my script breakdown. If you don't want to read my breakdown and you just want to read the script itself, scroll all the way down the article, and on the bottom I included the link to the PDF, so you can check out the script yourself. But I think the original version of the script was better. I liked the idea of it being three strangers. The character that was going to be played by Skeet Ulrich, he shot a lot of stuff for. But in that article that I did the breakdown for, I also included the YouTube clip from Entertainment Tonight from like 2003, where it was promoting Wes Craven's Curse, and you actually see some footage from the original shoot, including Skeet Ulrich's character. You see the scene with him falling off the pier backwards. and landing on all fours. He does like a little interview. Uh, the original script I thought would have made a much better movie. I don't care for the reveal that Scott Baio is uh, one of the werewolves, um, but I do find it interesting that uh, the original script was a little like the opposite of the the uh, final product, with the character Joni originally being the alpha, and then eventually uh, uh, just being someone who was inflicted for the final cut. As I said in the beginning, I really don't understand the decision to uh, to stop production when they were so close to finishing, demanding a rewrite, and then going with the version that we got, because the original script I think is really good. I can't say that enough. I think it would have been probably not in my top 10 of werewolf films still, but like, I mean, it very much could have been. You know, if they went with the original script, they had all the original cast, um, and they had continued to use Rick Baker's effects instead of the CGI. It could have been a top 10 werewolf film. Um, but instead, what we got was just another example of studio meddling, producers meddling, and uh, as a result, it's a flawed yet kind of fun film. So I'll read the final few comments and then I'm going to bounce for the night. Um, Seth, Marsha was so hot in Howlin' 1. Yes. Next time you cut your own hair, keep your eyes open. I tried. I tried. Do we not talk about Wolfen? No, we will talk about Wolfen. Uh, I don't know if I already got that on the schedule or if that's going to be probably sometime next year, but I enjoy Wolfen. Wolfen is included on my list. I know a lot of people who are like, well, technically it's not werewolves. And you're right. It's what, spirit wolves or whatever. But it always kind of gets brought into the werewolf conversation. So I'm just including it anyway, because damned if I do, damned if I don't. But yeah, I'll talk about Wolfen at some point. Maybe before I do that, I'll actually read the book, because I have not read the book for that one yet. But yeah, so anyway, thank you to everyone who joined in tonight. Most notably, Sean Sheridan of Sean Sheridan's Movie Reviews, Scott Walker, uh, Matt Torrance. Am I forgetting anyone? Ages of Film, another good channel, check out. Yeah, so have a great night and beware the moon.